Good morning everyone. What a championship it was last year. We look ahead now to the 2016 RBS Six Nations, and I think a lot of the interest in rugby is enormous. A lot of people considering that after the Rugby World Cup, Six Nations might exist somewhat in its shadow, but I think it's quite the opposite, that rugby really is at the forefront in the sporting world. So we're looking ahead to this with great interest. We're going to be speaking to some of the captains in a moment. It's good to have the captains of the Women's Championship as well here, the respective countries. Ireland defending the title in both the men's and women's championships. We have the trophies here. We've got a triple crown along there. We have the under-20 trophy. We've got the trophy itself in front of me here. We've got the player of the championship trophy at the end, and we have the women's trophy as well there. So all the silverware is on display, all to play for in this year's championships. A great tournament is nothing though without a great sponsor, and RBS have been a title sponsor for some time now, so I'd like to welcome first of all to the stage to say a few words. I'm going to give him his full glorious title, the Regional Managing Director of Corporate and Commercial Banking at RBS, Tim Bogue.
Thank you, Andrew, and good morning, everyone. On behalf of RBS, I'd like to welcome you here today to the Hurlingham Club, the official launch of the RBS Six Nations Championship. For me, it's very special, and I feel very privileged to be here representing RBS today. I was born in Wales to a Welsh mother and English father. I have an Irish wife. I work for a Scottish bank. I've been to France and Italy to watch Six Nations rugby. So as you can probably imagine, match days in our household are pretty emotive affairs. But I saw this competition advertised on television a few days ago, billed as rugby's greatest championship. And it certainly has its own special atmosphere, intensity and passion that makes it quite unique. What can you say about the RBS Six Nations? The final day of the championship, 21st of March last year, yielded 27 tries, 221 points and 240 minutes of thrilling live rugby. What a brilliant and unbelievable day that was. At RBS, we're really proud to be sponsoring this championship for the 14th year. We're truly delighted to be associated with such an illustrious international competition, representing a sport which upholds so many of the values which our customers, our employees and wider communities recognise. Values such as teamwork, respect and discipline, to name just a few. Our job at the bank is to move on from the recent past and to be known again for many of the positive characteristics for which banks used to be known and respected, including, of course, serving our customers really well. We also need to rebuild trust amongst all of our stakeholders, and that is our ambition at RBS. Being associated with the RBS Six Nations through our continued sponsorship really helps us to achieve that ambition, connecting with the communities in which our customers and employees work and live. And whilst the glow and the glamour at this elite level is very special, we strive to do a lot more. We have staff and volunteers from offices and branches across England, Wales and Scotland joining forces as part of our Rugby Force programme, working with the respective rugby unions. They offer ideas, advice to rugby clubs and mentoring across all of those countries, as well as painting a few clubhouses in their spare time. And as an amateur club committee member myself, I have attended several of those workshops, and they are indeed very beneficial and can make a real difference to the clubs involved. Over the life of Rugby Force, we've had 1,000 clubs across the UK registered for Rugby Force activities. We've had over 30,000 volunteers attending Rugby Force events up and down the country. And in 2015 we had 50 clubs who took on additional mentoring from NatWest and Royal Bank business professionals to help them with their improvement plans for their clubs. So much of this sport, like so many others, depends on the volunteers. From the granny who makes the snacks for the players, to the mum who runs the kit shop, to the mums and the dads who become the coaches, and to those who volunteer to be officials without whom there would be no matches. The RBS Six Nations helps to broaden the appeal of the game and promote community inclusion in its widest sense. So the sponsorship of this championship is very much a key part of our bank sponsorship strategy, helping us to build trust and advocacy. It's good for our employees, it's good for our customers, and it's good for our business. The players and the coaches who compete in the RBS Six Nations, and all of you who write about it and report on it, inspire many people to become involved and to stay involved in this fantastic sport of ours. So thank you. Now I'd like to hand over to someone who's been a huge figure in the sport since my teenage days. Please give a very warm welcome to Bill Beaumont, Chairman of the Six Nations Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mesdames, Messieurs, I'm not about to do that. Welcome to the launch of the 2016 RBS Six Nations Championship. I'm sure that the final weekend of last year's championship will still be fresh in the minds of people. A dramatic finish for rugby's greatest championships, with records broken both on and off the pitch. Over 130 million people watched the championship in the six home nations alone, with millions more viewers around the world. Our broadcast recorded some record audiences. For example, an audience peak of 9.3 million on the BBC for the last match of the championship, and RTE recording an audience share of 2/3 of the population of Ireland in rounds 3, 4 and 5. Our digital platform also increased significant growth, with Instagram numbers increasing by 346%. And I must be old school here, because I'm going to have to go off script, because somebody's crossed out Instagram, because obviously they realise I don't know what Instagram is. And they put in great numbers recorded in 2015. So I'll have to work out what Instagram is, so somebody could tell me later. I'm more of an analogue era than the digital age. The championship continues to go from strength to strength online. Fan attendance in person remains the heartbeat of the championship. In 2015, the near-perfect record continued. The 5 rounds operating at 96.5 attendance rate. All in all, rugby's greatest championship had never been in better health, and all signs point towards an even greater year in 2016. There are changes in both players and coaching staff. This year we welcome Eddie Jones and Guy Noves as they take over the coaching helm of England and France respectively. Both are experienced campaigners and will no doubt enjoy pitting their wits against Warren Gatland, Joe Schmidt, Vern Cotter and Jacques Brunel. This year we begin an exciting new era in our television coverage of the Six Nations Championship, with the BBC and ITV sharing the coverage of all live matches in the UK. The BBC have a long distinguished record of televising rugby's greatest championship, and while ITV have also proved themselves to be committed partners in rugby with their coverage of the Rugby World Cup. With extensive highlights shown on the weekend's action as well, we believe this will give even more people the opportunity to watch more rugby, which will lead to more growth in our wonderful game. As always, we should give a huge thank you to our sponsors, RBS, who are now in their 14th year of backing the championship. So thank you very much indeed, Tim, to you and your colleagues. Also wish to thank our other sponsors, Guinness, Tissot and Accenture, for their continued support. Rugby's greatest championship would not exist without the people involved who make it such a superb event. The players, the coaches, the fans, the volunteers, the staff, and of course you, the media. It just remains for me to wish everyone the very best of luck and to have a great championship. So thank you very much indeed, and I'd like to invite Andrew back to the stage. Thank you.
Well, many thanks. We all look forward to explaining Instagram to you. It's essentially people taking photos of food or cats and pretending that their lives are amazing. So that's what I do. Anyway, so that is it in a nutshell. I look forward to seeing perhaps Josh plays in this, and that's up to Eddie. We'll have a quiet word with them. But again, the coaches, as Bill was saying, are all here, but I think it's time to meet the real stars of the show who are gathering in the shadows at the back there. So please welcome to the stage the respective captains from Wales, Sam Warburton from England, Dylan Hartley from Ireland, RBS from Scotland, Greg Laidlaw from France, Guillaume Girardeau, and from Italy, Sergio Parisi. A round of applause, please. Remember the Italian welcome to all of you. Some who have done this before. So I love these stools that they give you, enormous figures, and just perched here in bar stools. But I think we will start, just a couple of questions. They're going to be doing rather harder, more insightful interviews, I think, with some serious journalists out in the rooms a bit afterwards. But if we start with the champions, and Rory, champions as mentioned in the women's and the men's game, champions for the last 2 years, the Irish men's team. Is it fair to say that things since that championship win, it's not been a great year for the national side, for the provinces, so is there still confidence that Ireland can make it a hat-trick?
Yeah, look, I think it's, when you come into the Six Nations camp for the first time, that first week is always excitement, regardless of how results or perceived results have went for us. So the provinces have, it's the first time in a few years we haven't had a representative of the quarterfinals of the Champions Cup. So there's obviously that, but I think coming together, there's a good mix of young players with not that much experience, but there's also a good few senior experienced players there, so we feel there's a good balance.
Well, you mentioned that, because the depth is going to be tested again, as it was in the latter stage of the World Cup for Ireland, because you might have your arms around some younger, more inexperienced players in the front row. You get Ross and Healy are struggling, so again, it's that depth that has to be there for Ireland.
Yeah, I think it does, but I think it's sort of right across the board. You know, you got to have a good squad to win things these days. I think rugby in the last few years have become a lot more traditional, and you tend to lose players through injury, and you just have to dig into your squad. We've done that in the past, and I think especially in the front row we have some good players there. You look at Jack McGrath, actually started 4 of the 5 games last year anyway, and Nathan White came in and was really good during the World Cup for us. So, you know, we feel we have some good options there, but it's always a test, and it's one that I think is exciting for us to look at.
Well, thank you very much. Well, let's look at your opponents for the first weekend. I mean, Sam, your fitness, first of all, you're back playing, but just looking for a bit of sharpness now, an extra game perhaps sneaked in before the Six Nations?
Yeah, it was end of November, just went over my ankle and ended up rupturing one of the ligaments, so I was a little bit worried. I think I just missed out on an operation, which was good news. So I got back, played Cavasano in our last European game a couple of weekends ago, and if there's an opportunity with the Blues, then just jump back and sharpen the tools there. So you know, back fit. There's a few guys who've sort of been pushing it quite close, but luckily now we're coming into the squad. There's only a few guys we're missing. You know, Lee Penny, Reece Webb, those guys are the ones with sort of real serious injuries left. Scott Williams as well. So. Apart from those 3, it's a pretty good looking squad. That
must be encouraging for you, because you know, in the World Cup by the end there were 3 players left fit in Wales. So to have, I mean, that's what it is. It's a test of the whole squad as well, as much as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough way to find out, but we were chucked in at the deep end when it comes to injuries, you know, and you expect, you know, it's quite normal to have 2 or 3 or 4 injuries even, but to have what we had was a little bit unusual. But it was great because we played, you know, real tough teams in a pretty hostile environment, and we managed to come through okay. So it's good knowing that we go into the Six Nations, you can rely on boys will be pulled upon in the World Cup, and if they can put a good shift in the World Cup, then you know, the Six Nations they'll stand in good stead for the Six Nations. So it's good for our confidence going forward. We know we can deal with 4, 5 or 6 guys injured, and we proved for the first time in quite a while that we do have a bit of strength and depth, you know. So compared to maybe 4 years ago where there was criticism that there was a good 15 or 22, I think now we've got a really strong group of 30-odd boys which you can call upon, which is great for the Welsh team.
Well, let's move on to France against Italy, and Guillaume Girardeau. Now Guillaume has got Odile, who's going to be translating. No, not translating, you're waving a finger saying no, 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 which is French for no, 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 so you're going to be translating. Instead, translating my broad Lowland Scots into possible French, so welcome. Excellent. So Guillaume, first of all, sorry, there you are, just the other side of Greg Laidlaw. So under Guy Novez, are things different than Philippe Saint-André? How do you think things are going to change?
Guillaume, est-ce que je pourrais vous demander, est-ce que les choses vont être différentes avec Guy Novez par rapport à Philippe Saint-André? Comment les choses vont-elles changer?
Pour le moment, c'est tout nouveau, donc on a eu que 2 jours d'entraînement. Mais ce qui est sûr, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de joueurs qui ont arrêté leur carrière internationale et que forcément c'est un nouveau départ et qu'on sait qu'on est attendu forcément aux yeux de tous les Français.
Well, it is very new. We've only had 2 days of training so far, and it is very true that several players have stopped their international careers. And it is true that there are lots of expectations as far as the French public is concerned.
Again, can you talk about your pride yourself in leading France, captaining France in the RBS Six Nations?
Pourriez-vous peut-être nous parler de votre fierté de mener le groupe France dans le RBS des 6 Nations?
C'est un immense honneur, une immense fierté, mais ce qu'il faut, c'est que la France retrouve la victoire et qu'on arrive à enchaîner les victoires pour pouvoir essayer de gagner le tour à destination. Donc ça va être difficile parce que tout le monde est ici pour le gagner. Donc on se prépare surtout pour le premier match contre l'Italie.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Fierté de mener la France. That's as far as my French goes, but yes.
Well, yes, of course, very proud, but above all, I think what we need to focus on is a victory. We have 3 very difficult matches ahead of us, and what we have to do is to try and win them all. And this is what everybody wants, and this is what we are aiming for.
Excellent. Thank you very much to you both. Sergio Parisse, a veteran of the RBS Six Nations. 2004 was your first. Is that right? This is 2004. Thank goodness for that. So this is your 11th, because you missed 2010. But does it still give you the same excitement, the same buzz? This great championship.
Definitely yes, I'm 33 years old. I look older because I don't have here.
I'm with you.
I look like 40, but no, physically, and I'm really, every time, every year, it's really exciting to play this tournament, and personally, and obviously for the Italian team, it's a good opportunity to play this tournament.
A lot of new names as well, in particular in the pack, with the every forwards going well, so that you need to freshen things up, don't you, as well, Italy? There has to be a sort of conveyor belt of talent coming through.
Yeah, and especially in this Six Nations, we have a few injuries for the beginning, especially, and they have 10 uncapped players being part of the team. So, obviously for us as Italian team, it's really, really tough this tournament, but it's really exciting. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for the young players to show the Italians, show they deserve to play for the Italian team, and obviously enjoy every single match.
Thank you very much. And you do not look 40, it's 38 at a push. Thank you very much, sir. We look forward to seeing you playing again, and Italy with that opening game against France. Greg, alongside here, Greg Laidlaw, captain of Scotland. I think there's more of an excitement about rugby in Scotland than there has been for many years off the back of the efforts in the World Cup.
I think there is, Andrew, and not all just that. I think the way Glasgow performed in the Pro 12 in recent years and finally going on to win it. I think some of that youthful sort of sided players coming through, whether that be Finn Russell, Stuart Hogg, and that's really sort of spreading throughout the squad, and Vern coming in and mixing a few things up. Ultimately, we're a fairly successful World Cup for us, but we understand we went out in the quarters alongside other teams in this competition, so we don't deserve anything. Going forward, we'll have to work for everything we get.
There's no easing into this championship. There never is in the RBS Six Nations always side, but to start with the Country Cup is just enormous.
Yes, it is, and it's a tough competition. It's harder every year. We're expecting that this year. We're training well, and we're training to prepare to try and win as many games as we can in the comp, and clearly we've got England first up, which is always an incredible game to be involved in. And for me to be captain of Scotland in that game, it's very special. So to start well is always the key. You've got to do well in the tournament.
Right, thank you. Well, last but by no means least, Dylan, talk about your pride about leading a country. Have you picked up things as well, Chris, still in the squad as well? Have you talked to Chris Robshaw about the active captaincy? How do you think you'll lead the side?
For me, first and foremost, as a player, I've got to get in the team, I've got to do my job. Massive emphasis on set piece for me and making that successful. So first and foremost, play well. I think any of the boys here, captaining their sides, that's their first job as well.
And do you tailor your style? You're captain Northampton as well. Are you thinking all the time, I'm the captain, I've got to lead by example?
Of course. Everyone else got to talk about the team, but we get to talk about me. Of course. I mean, if we want to go down that line, it's there to see. You know, it's in the press. We all know about it. For me, I want to do my best. I want to win. I want to do well for the shirt. And for me, that's playing well, leading by example.
And you want to show as well that the way England we saw us finishing the last championship against France, that's the way they play, because there are things to make up for the World Cup. But you've seen how England can play.
Oh, the foundations are there. We've got a good core group. We've got experience. We've got good young fellas coming through. The disappointment from the World Cup, we want to put right. We've got a motivated group of players. We've got 2 weeks. We're hugely excited about the first game. The challenge at the moment is to get on the same page. We've all had a couple of days training, so the quicker we can do that, the better. And like I said, we're just hugely excited by the challenge ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Dylan. Thank you to all our captains for sharing their thoughts. Again, they'll be giving interviews in the rooms outside for radio, television, online, etc. But thank you to Sam Warburton, Dylan Hartley, to Rory Best, Greg Laidlaw, Ian Girardeau and Sergio Parisi, our captains for the 2016 RBS Six Nations.